famous active volcanoes include Krakatoa. They have played a very important role in history. First, Krakatoa's massive eruption in 1883 caused a huge disaster. The sound of the eruption could even be heard thousands of kilometers away. The ash and gases produced by this eruption. Indonesia. This is a country spanning the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean, composed of more than 17,000 islands. On this magical land, many little-known secrets are buried. From flowers emitting a foul odor, to monkeys with long noses, and to the most mysterious prehistoric Gunung Padang pyramids. In this episode, Mingxin will bring you 20 amazing discoveries from Indonesia. And these discoveries, you may be seeing for the first time. If you're new here, welcome to subscribe to my channel. Turn on the notification bell, so you can be the first to watch more exciting content. Okay. So, let's begin our story now. Number 20. Boat-shaped houses. In Sulawesi, Indonesia, there is an ethnic group called the Toraja. Their houses are particularly interesting. They look like upside-down boats. They are called Tong Kona. Their Chinese name is Tong Kongan. The roofs of these houses are typically covered with black palm leaves or bamboo. They form an arched structure, very striking. The front and sides of the houses are decorated with intricate carvings and patterns, including water buffalo horns, other patterns and other symbolically significant designs. Each pattern has a specific meaning, expressing the family's history, status, and traditions. These houses are generally built on raised platforms, with the bottom of the house a certain distance from the ground. This design not only prevents dampness and flooding, but also allows for livestock raising or storage underneath. The length of a tongkang house is generally 10 to 15 meters. The width is 5 to 8 meters. The height can reach over 10 meters. It's not just a dwelling, it also symbolizes the family's social status. Families who build tongkang houses generally hold a high position in the community. The size of the house and the degree of its ornamentation often reflect the family's wealth and prestige. Furthermore, it remains the center of the family. Many important family activities and ceremonies are held here, including weddings and ancestral rites. This type of house can accommodate 10 to 20 people, or even more. These include immediate and some extended family members. Family members would be allocated to different parts of the house. Sometimes, even multiple generations would live together. 19th. Kopi Luwak. Kopi Luwak is a very special and expensive coffee. This coffee originally comes from Indonesia, especially Sumatra, Bali and Sulawesi. Its name comes from a special participant, the Asian palm civet. This is a small animal. The creature likes to eat coffee cherries. Coffee cherries are the fruit of the coffee plant before processing. After the civet eats these fruits, they undergo digestion and fermentation in its stomach. Gastric juices and digestive enzymes process the coffee cherries, leaving only the coffee beans. These coffee beans are not fully digested. Instead, they will be excreted. Then, some very discerning individuals will collect these excreted coffee beans at this time. They carefully wash them, removing all impurities, then dry them, roast and grind them, finally producing the kopi luwak we know and love. Because it goes through the civet's digestive process, civet coffee has a particularly smooth flavor, sweet, and low acidity. Many people find its taste more complex and richer than ordinary coffee, because the production process is elaborate and unique. In addition, the work of collecting the coffee beans is extensive, making civet coffee extremely expensive. It is considered one of the world's most expensive coffees. Generally speaking, in the retail market, high-quality Kopi Luwak coffee costs between $100 and $500 per pound. In specialty coffee shops or upscale supermarkets, a cup of Kopi Luwak might cost between $35 and $100, or even more. Rank 18. Corpse flower. Titanarum. Also known as the Titanarum, it is a very unique large flower. The flower gets its name from the foul odor it emits. Its inflorescence is enormous, reaching up to 3 meters in height. Although the smell is, but this flower is very attractive. Many people travel all the way to Indonesia, just to catch a glimpse of its beauty. The flower has a tall, fleshy central column. that looks like a giant club. The whole flower looks very spectacular. Sometimes it's even as tall as a small hill. When it blooms, the flower emits a very foul odor. It smells like rotting flesh. This smell attracts flies and other insects to help it pollinate. And its flowering time is very irregular. Generally, it takes at least 7 to 10 years to accumulate enough energy to bloom. And each flowering period is also very short, only about 24 to 48 hours. So, seeing it bloom is a very fortunate thing. The flower originally grew in the tropical rainforests of Sumatra, Indonesia. However, now many botanical gardens and greenhouses are cultivating it. This way, more people can see this unique flower. Seventeenth place, Komodo dragon. This is a giant lizard that lives on the Komodo Islands in Indonesia. These creatures generally measure 2 to 3 meters in length. They weigh approximately 70 to 90 kilograms. The largest ones can even exceed 3 meters, weighing up to 150 kilograms. It's a very ferocious creature. They feed on various animals, for example, deer, wild boars, sheep, monkeys, even water buffalo, and in most cases, they swallow their prey whole. This creature's bite force isn't very strong, but its saliva contains various toxins. These toxins will have a lethal effect on the prey. When a Komodo dragon bites its prey, the anticoagulants in its venom quickly enter the prey's bloodstream, causing the prey's wounds to continuously bleed and fail to heal. Ultimately, the prey will weaken and even die from excessive blood loss. Also, after biting its prey, it will also show a very intelligent side. The creature won't kill them immediately. Instead, it leisurely follows behind them, watching them struggle, barely alive. Then, it swallows them in one gulp. In addition to this, the creature has another unique ability. It can use its forked tongue to detect chemical substances in the air. Then, it brings these chemicals back to the Jacobson's organ in its mouth to analyze the scent. In this way, Komodo dragons can detect minute amounts of decaying flesh in the air, even sensing carrion from 4 to 9 kilometers away. This keen sense of smell allows them to quickly locate food, especially in dry, food-scarce environments. Number 16. The Poseidon Steed. The Sea Temple is a very famous building on Bali, Indonesia. It's also one of the most popular tourist attractions. The temple complex is located on Bali's southwest coast. It covers an area of approximately 1,500 square meters. The temple is built on a huge rock. When the tide comes in, the rock is surrounded by seawater. It looks like a small island floating on the sea. When the tide recedes, people can walk into the temple. The Tanah Lot Temple is dedicated to the sea god, Baruna. Locals believe this temple protects Bali from evil sea spirits. It is said that the temple was built in the 16th century, by a priest named Dang Hyang Nirartha, a famous priest and saint in Balinese history. He played a significant role in spreading Hinduism to Bali. It is said that during his trip to Bali, he came to this rock, and was captivated by the beautiful scenery. Here, he meditated and felt the presence of the divine. Therefore, he decided to build a temple here, to worship the sea god Baruna, protecting local fishermen and residents. Those who wish to visit the temple, it's necessary to wear the local traditional clothing, a garment called a Balinese. Luckily, there are places nearby to rent clothes, so you don't need to worry about that. Number 15. The Bali Myna. This is a critically endangered bird species unique to Bali, Indonesia. Currently, only about 100 remain worldwide. The wild population is extremely small. This bird is about 25 centimeters long. Over 90% of its body is white. It's like wearing a beautiful white robe. But it has a ring of bright blue skin around its eyes, like wearing blue glasses. Its wings and the tip of its tail are adorned with a little black. Overall, it looks very elegant. This bird mainly lives in the tropical forests and bushes of Bali. It likes to eat insects and fruit. Sometimes it also eats some small seeds. They like to build nests in trees, especially tall trees. This helps them avoid predators on the ground. However, due to human development and deforestation, their habitats have been greatly reduced. At the same time, because these birds are so beautiful, some people illegally capture them as pets, leading to a sharp decline in their numbers. To protect this rare bird, the Indonesian government has enacted a series of laws, prohibiting the capture and sale of the crested myna. At the same time, several special protected areas have been established in Bali, and some organizations are trying to artificially breed this bird. Through the efforts of all parties, the number of these birds is slowly recovering. 14th. Wallace's line. In the 19th century, the British naturalist Alfred Russel Wallace, during his explorations and research, he noticed a significant difference in the flora and fauna on some Southeast Asian islands. After extensive observation and record-keeping, Wallace discovered a hypothetical boundary line that separated the flora and fauna of some islands from those of others. Wallace proposed that the western side of this line included islands such as Sumatra, Java, and Borneo. The flora and fauna here were more similar to those on the Asian mainland. For example, there are tigers, elephants, rhinoceroses and various typical Asian trees and plants. And on the Wallace line's other side, including Lombok, Sulawesi, Australia, New Guinea and Australia. The flora and fauna are more like those of Australia, wombats, Australian, emus, and many plants unique to Australia. But he still couldn't figure out why this was happening. Until later, scientists, through further research and geological discoveries, concluded that it was because a long time ago, these islands were geologically part of the Asian and Australian continents respectively. Due to plate tectonics, these islands gradually separated, forming their current geographical locations. This led to the flora and fauna in each region evolving independently for a long time, resulting in significant differences. It's like you have two large fish tanks. One filled with freshwater fish, and one filled with saltwater fish. If you place these two tanks side by side, even if they are very close, the fish inside will not be the same, because they live in completely different environments. And the Wallace line is like the dividing line between these two fish tanks. Separate the fish into different tanks. 13th place. Rafflesia. The Rafflesia is one of the world's largest flowers. It mainly grows in the tropical rainforests of Southeast Asia, especially in Indonesia and Malaysia. The flower's diameter can reach 1 meter. It can weigh up to 11 kilograms. The Rafflesia doesn't have leaves like ordinary plants, stems, or roots. It completely relies on parasitizing a plant called tetrastigma to obtain nutrients. Tetrastigma is a woody vine, mainly distributed in the tropical rainforests of Southeast Asia. The Rafflesia seed must land on the roots or stem of a tetrastigma plant, and successfully invade the host plant's tissues to grow. Once the seed successfully parasitizes, the Rafflesia will form a series of thin, thread-like structures inside the host plant. It absorbs the host plant's nutrients through these structures. After months or even years, it will form a bud-like structure on the surface of the host plant. Finally, it blooms. The Rafflesia flower looks like a large red or orange disc, covered with small white spots. It has a very unique characteristic. It emits a strong odor, smelling like rotting meat. This distinctive scent attracts certain types of insects, which help pollinate it. The blooming period of the Rafflesia is very short, usually lasting only a few days. It takes a bit of luck to witness it in bloom. Because its growth conditions are very harsh, it needs to parasitize on specific host plants. Therefore, it is uncommon in nature. Number 12. The Toraja Funeral. It is a unique and grand funeral custom of the Toraja people on Sulawesi Island, Indonesia. When a Toraja person dies, they won't be buried immediately. Instead, they are embalmed and kept at home, sometimes for months or even years, until the family gathers enough money to hold a grand funeral. This funeral is a very important social and cultural event. It's not just to mourn the deceased, but also a chance to showcase the family's wealth and status. The scale and complexity of the funeral depend on the deceased's social status and the family's financial resources. During the funeral, sacrificing water buffalo is a very important ritual. The water buffalo are considered important assistants for the deceased soul to enter the afterlife. In some very grand funerals, as many as 100 water buffalo may be sacrificed. This sacrifice demonstrates the family's financial strength. It also provides a smooth path to the afterlife for the departed soul. Except for water buffalo, pigs are also common sacrificial offerings in Toraja funerals. A significant funeral might involve as many as 50 pigs. This pork is distributed to relatives, friends, and community members during the funeral, symbolizing sharing and unity. Many traditional dances and musical performances take place at the funeral. Members of the entire community participate, celebrating together and remembering at the table. These performances are not only for entertainment, but also to express respect and remembrance for the deceased. After the funeral ceremony, the Toraja people bury their dead in cliffside graves or caves. They will carve out a hole in the cliff, place the coffin inside, and then place a wooden statue at the entrance of the cave to represent the deceased. These wooden statues are exquisitely crafted. They are of high artistic value. If a child dies, the Toraja people will place their remains in the hollow of a tree. This tree is usually a specific type of tree that symbolizes the cycle of life. The tree will continue to grow, symbolizing that the child's life continues in nature. Toraja's funeral is a big event for the whole community. Everyone will participate and help with the preparations and conduct of the funeral. Relatives and friends will come from all directions. Together they will participate in this important ceremony. 11th. Nutmeg. Nutmeg is a common spice. It is the seed of a tree called the nutmeg tree. This tree is about 20 meters tall. It has dense leaves and fragrant flowers. The tree mainly grows in the Maluku Islands of Indonesia, also known as the Spice Islands. When you pick a nutmeg fruit and peel off the outer shell, you can see a red membrane inside. This membrane is called mace. The seeds inside are nutmeg. Both can be used as spices. Nutmeg has a stronger flavor, while cardamom has a milder taste. Generally, most people consume the nutmeg inside. Nutmeg is widely used in cooking and baking. It can be ground into a powder and added to food, enhance the flavor. Common uses include desserts such as cakes, cookies, and puddings, drinks like eggnog and hot chocolate, foods such as meats, soups, and sauces. This spice is not only delicious, but also has some traditional medicinal value. It helps relieve indigestion and abdominal distension. It has a sedative effect. It can also relieve insomnia and anxiety, and it has anti-inflammatory effects. It helps reduce inflammation and pain. However, excessive consumption of nutmeg may cause poisoning, leading to headaches, nausea, hallucinations and tumor-like effects. Therefore, when using nutmeg, be sure to use it in moderation. Typically, just a few grams per use is sufficient. Number 10. The proboscis monkey. On the island of Borneo in Indonesia, there is a monkey with a very peculiar appearance. They are called proboscis monkeys. This monkey is named for the unusually long nose of the males. Their noses are generally around 18 centimeters long, like a big eggplant hanging down, while the females have much shorter noses. Scientists believe the purpose of the males' long noses may be to attract females, similar to the vibrant feathers of some birds. Proboscis monkeys vary in size. Adult males generally weigh up to 20 kilograms. Females are relatively smaller, weighing around 10 kilograms. Their fur is mainly reddish-brown, but lighter on the chest and shoulders. Their abdominal fur is white. This creature mainly feeds on leaves. They eat fruits and seeds. They have a special stomach that helps them digest these high-fiber plants, just like a cow's stomach. Proboscis monkeys mainly live in the mangroves of Borneo, along rivers and wetland forests. These areas have abundant food sources and a suitable habitat for them. And they also have another skill. Smithsonian. This ability helps them find food in river and wetland environments, or escape predators. Proboscis monkeys are social animals. Usually, a group consists of one adult male, several females, and their young. The male is the leader of the group. He is responsible for the safety of the group. Number 9. Village. In Sambas, Indonesia, there's a very special village. All the houses in this village are painted in various colors, looking just like a rainbow. It's very eye-catching. Therefore, it's called Rainbow Village by people. Rainbow Village was originally a slum. To improve the appearance of the impoverished community, the local government decided to make the village more beautiful. They invited artists and volunteers to paint the houses here in various bright colors. The aim was to improve the village's appearance through art, attract tourists, and increase the villagers' income. The houses in the entire village were painted in various colors, like red, blue, yellow, green, etc. They look very vibrant and beautiful. Some houses even have various patterns and drawings on their walls. Some are flowers, plants, and trees. And some are classic cartoon characters. It added a lot of vitality to the village. Because of these colorful houses, Rainbow Village has become a popular tourist attraction, attracting many tourists to visit. Number 8. The Blue Fire Volcano. Mount Ijen is located on the island of East Java, Indonesia. It is a famous active volcano. The volcano's elevation is approximately 2,799 meters. The crater lake is one of the world's largest hyperacidic lakes. Also, Ijen volcano's most distinctive feature is its blue flames. At nightfall, you will discover the spectacular blue flames. This is because sulfur gas erupts from fissures within the volcano and burns upon contact with air, and its temperature is extremely high. It can reach over 600 degrees. You can feel the intense heat waves from a long distance. These flames sometimes reach several meters high. They are like blue dragons dancing gracefully around the crater's edge. The flames vary in color from light blue to deep blue. They flicker and dance constantly, affected by the wind and changes in gas concentration. They flicker and jump constantly. Also, this is a sulfurous area. Many workers, to make a living, perform highly dangerous work nearby. They use simple tools to extract sulfur chunks from the crater. They load them into baskets, each weighing 70 to 90 kilograms. Then they transport the sulfur down the steep mountain path. This work is dangerous and involves high temperatures and toxic gases. Number 7. The Flores Man. In 2003, archaeologists unearthed some mysterious skeletons on the Indonesian island of Flores. After identification, it was discovered that these remains belonged to an extinct hominin species. They named these skeletons the Flores Man. What's interesting is that Flores people were extremely short. After complete reconstruction, their height was only about 1.1 meters. Their weight was between 25 and 30 kilograms. Their brain capacity was only 380 milliliters. That's about one-third the brain capacity of modern humans. They belonged to a small type of human. Or, according to our current understanding, they look rather like dwarves. So, they've also been called real-life hobbits. These findings completely overturned everyone's knowledge, because, according to existing research, in the 2-million-year history of human evolution, a species like Homo floresiensis has never appeared. Archaeologists believe that Homo floresiensis lived between approximately 100,000 and 50,000 years ago, overlapping with modern humans for a period of time. Their remains and stone tools were discovered in a cave on Flores Island. This suggests they were capable of using tools for hunting and gathering food, possibly including small animals, plants, and fruits. The origin of Homo floresiensis remains open to debate. There's a theory. One viewpoint is that they may be descendants of early humans. Due to living on resource-limited islands for a long time, they gradually devolved into a smaller size. Another viewpoint is that they may be a geographically isolated descendant of an ancestor closer to modern humans. And yet another viewpoint is incomplete sentence, needs clarification from original source. They are a newly discovered, independent hominin species. That's why did these people? Scientists don't have definitive answers, but they speculate. There may be the following reasons. First, the environment on Flores Island may have undergone significant changes. If the climate becomes cold or dry, leading to a decrease in food resources. Secondly, the island is located in a volcanic active zone. Volcanic eruptions could lead to drastic environmental changes, making it impossible for the Flores people to survive. Another possibility is that, around 50,000 years ago, modern humans also appeared in this region. They likely had advantages in language and social organization, placing the Flores people at a disadvantage in competition, leading to their gradual replacement and extinction. Additionally, the Flores people's small stature and prolonged isolation might have reduced their genetic diversity, making them more susceptible to diseases and genetic disorders, ultimately leading to. But there are also dissenting opinions that the Flores people did not completely disappear. Their descendants still live on the island, only very low-key, unnoticed by others. Number 6. The world's largest Buddhist temple complex. In central Java, Indonesia, lies one of the world's largest Buddhist temple compounds. Its name is Borobudur. The temple compound covers approximately 2,500 square meters. Its base measures 123 meters long and 123 meters wide. The entire temple compound is designed somewhat like a pyramid. Its most distinctive feature is its design, primarily composed of platforms and open-air structures, unlike traditional temples with many internal rooms. Borobudur has 10 levels, starting from the base platform, 5 square platforms and 3 circular platforms. At the very top is a large central stupa. The base platform is the foundation, occupying most of the area, used to support and consolidate the entire structure. 5 square platforms, each smaller than the one below, form a pyramid-like structure. Each level has passageways and stairs for people to walk and visit. Within the temple enclosure, there are 2,672 relief panels. Their content mainly depicts the life story of Buddha, Buddhist teachings, and the social life of ancient Java. It also includes 432 Buddha statues. Entering the 3-story circular platform, there are 72 small stupas. These stupas are designed to be hollow. Inside each stupa sits a Buddha statue. In total, there are 504 of them. These statues are arranged along the corridor's sides, facing outwards. Most appear in postures of meditation and teaching. They symbolize different Buddhist doctrines and meanings. Borobudur was built between the 8th and 9th centuries. It was constructed by the rulers of the Sailendra dynasty. It was primarily built to commemorate the Buddha. At that time, it was an important pilgrimage site for Buddhists. In 1991, Borobudur was listed as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. This marked its significant place in world history and culture. This temple is not only a religious sanctuary, it attracts many believers to come and worship every year, but also a popular tourist destination because of its lush tropical plants and beautiful surrounding countryside. It's especially popular in the early morning or evening, when the temple complex looks particularly magnificent in the sunrise and sunset light. Every year, during the Buddhist Vesak Day, grand celebrations are held here, including the lantern lighting ceremony and prayer activities, attracted many tourists and believers. 5th place. Wallace's Giant Bee. Wallace's Giant Bee. It is one of the largest bees in the world. About 4 centimeters long, with a wingspan of about 6 centimeters. In contrast, ordinary bees are only 1.5 centimeters long. This bee prefers to nest in white nests in trees, building its own nest using resin and wood chips to protect itself and its brood. This nesting behavior is very rare, because most bees do not live in white nests. Wallace's giant bee is mainly found in the Maluku Islands of Indonesia, especially on the islands of North Maluku province. These islands are their main habitat. British naturalist Alfred Russel Wallace first discovered this giant bee. He subsequently named it after himself. However, in the following decade, scientists hadn't seen the creature again. Due to a lack of new discoveries for a long time, many people believed this bee might have become extinct. Until 1981, American entomologist Adam Messer rediscovered this giant bee in the Maluku Islands of Indonesia, proving that they still existed. Then, in 2019, the cave exploration team has once again discovered Wallace's giant bees. They successfully photographed and filmed them. This is the first time these giant creatures have been recorded in nearly 40 years. Number 4. Pink Sand. Within Indonesia's Komodo National Park, there's a very special beach, known as Pink Sand. The sandbar is approximately 800 meters long. It's famous for its unique pink sand. The reason it's pink. is because it contains a large amount of red coral fragments. These red corals are composed of the shells of tiny organisms called foraminifera. These shells, when broken down, mix with the white sand grains, creating this beautiful pink effect. Under the sunlight, the pink sand's color is especially vibrant, especially in the early morning or evening. The pink sand creates a striking contrast with the azure sea. The scenery is like a painting. This place is perfect for relaxation and taking photos. Strolling on the sand, feel the fine sand. Enjoying the sunshine and sea breeze is an extremely comfortable experience. Also, in other parts of Indonesia, there is this pink sand. It's just that their color isn't as vibrant and famous as this. Third place. The highest number of active volcanoes in the world. Indonesia has the most active volcanoes in the world. These volcanoes are spread across 7 main islands and their surrounding smaller islands. These include Java, Sumatra, Sulawesi, Bali, Lombok, the Maluku Islands, and Papua Province. The number of these active volcanoes adds up to at least 130. Many volcanoes erupt without warning every year, causing significant loss of life and property. This happens because Indonesia is located on the Pacific Ring of Fire. The Earth's crust in these areas is very active, leading to a lot of volcanic activity. They erupt with large amounts of magma, volcanic ash and gases. Some famous active volcanoes include Krakatoa. They have played a very important role in history. First, Krakatoa's massive eruption in 1883 caused a huge disaster. The sound of the eruption could even be heard thousands of kilometers away. The ash and gases produced by this eruption, causing a significant global temperature drop. The volcanic eruption triggered a tsunami with waves up to 40 meters high, resulting in the deaths of 36,000 people. This disaster not only severely impacted local residents, but also caused widespread devastation globally. Secondly, Mount Merapi is one of Indonesia's most active volcanoes, erupting almost every few years. Because it's near densely populated areas, each eruption could potentially threaten residents. For example, a major eruption of this volcano in 2010 resulted in the deaths of hundreds, and tens of thousands were forced to evacuate. The large amounts of volcanic ash and gas produced by the eruption caused serious damage to the environment and public health. Finally, in 1815, Mount Tambora erupted in the largest volcanic eruption in recorded history. This eruption directly caused global climate change. 1816 was known as the year without a summer. Volcanic ash blocked out the sun, leading to a global temperature decrease and crop failures. Many places experienced devastating eruptions. This eruption is also considered the deadliest volcanic disaster in human history. It directly led to the deaths of tens of thousands. Of course, these volcanic events are just the tip of the iceberg in numerous disasters. Indonesia's rate and scale of active volcano eruptions are among the highest in the world. Besides Krakatoa, Merapi and Tambora volcanoes, many other active volcanoes are constantly active. They constantly threaten the lives and property of local residents. For example, the 2018 eruption of Anak Krakatau volcano triggered a tsunami. It resulted in hundreds of deaths and thousands of injuries. These events not only demonstrate the immense destructive power of volcanoes, but also remind us that communities living near volcanoes need to constantly improve their disaster prevention and mitigation capabilities, strengthen monitoring and early warning systems, to reduce future losses from volcanic eruptions. Indonesia, as one of the most volcanically active countries, experiences a volcanic eruption rate and impact far beyond these well-known events. It also includes many frequent small-scale eruptions that continuously affect the local environment and residents' lives. Second place, Barbarossa. Also known as the Barbarossa, this is a very special kind of wild pig. It lives on Sulawesi Island in Indonesia and nearby smaller islands. Their appearance is very different from that of ordinary wild pigs, especially their strange tusks. The upper canines of male Barbarossas grow out of their mouths, curving backwards. They even pierce their own noses and skulls. It's like I put a strange headdress on myself. And above their noses, they also have a pair of strange horns. making them look even more bizarre. These tusks and horns have multiple uses in courtship, fighting, defense, and intimidation. First, during mating season, male Barbarossa attract females by displaying their long tusks, showing their health and strength. The longer the tusks, the more likely they are to attract a female. Secondly, these tusks play a role in defense and attack, during competition and fighting between males, when males fight each other for mates or territory. They use these long tusks to push and butt. In addition, the tusks also serve to intimidate other animals and rivals, making them appear more formidable, and reducing direct conflict with other males or potential predators. This creature prefers to live in tropical rainforests, swamps, and riverbanks. They like to roll in the mud. This helps them cool down. It also protects their skin from insect bites. It's an omnivorous animal. They eat everything, including fruit, leaves, and roots, small animals and their young. They forage for food on the ground. Sometimes they also use their noses to dig for food. Barbarossa are social animals. Females and their young usually live together, forming small groups. Males prefer to live alone. They only approach females during mating season. First place. The Gunung Padang megalithic site, located in West Java, Indonesia. There is a site considered to be the oldest and largest prehistoric site in the world. This site is known as the Gunung Padang megalithic site. The Gunung Padang megalithic site may be older than the Egyptian pyramids. Scientists using carbon-14 dating have discovered that the oldest parts of this site may be 20,000 years old. Some studies even suggest its history may exceed 17,000 years. These measurements far exceed those of many other known ancient architectural sites. Researchers also found that the Badong pyramids are not just surface structures. They also have complex underground structures. These may contain even earlier architectural remains. The results show that the site has a total of 5 terraced layers. Each level consists of flat platforms built from volcanic stones. These stones are neatly arranged, forming a structure similar to a stepped pyramid. They dated the different levels of the site. They found that the Badong pyramid is not a product of a single era, but was built in multiple phases. Different levels represent construction activities from different periods. The outermost layer of construction may date back 3,000 to 4,000 years, and the deeper parts can be traced back to 20,000 to 27,000 years ago, or even earlier. Researchers used geophysical exploration methods, such as seismic imaging and resistivity measurement, to confirm the structures beneath the site. This suggests that the site may extend up to 15 meters below the surface. These underground structures could be remnants of an earlier civilization. In addition, archaeologists discovered many stone tools and pottery fragments around the site. This indicates that it was once a thriving settlement center. They speculate that this might have been a place where an ancient civilization conducted religious activities or other important rituals. It is noteworthy that the discovery and study of the Badong pyramids have also sparked widespread debate in academia. Some scholars have questioned the accuracy of the dating and the age of the site. More evidence is needed to support these conclusions. However, how about no contention? The discovery of the Badong pyramids undoubtedly provides us with an extremely important research subject, helping to uncover many mysteries of prehistoric human civilization. Okay, that's all we have to share with you this time.